In early 2003, a German team aimed ground-penetrating radar beneath Uruk, widely regarded as the world's first true city, and detected a sealed structure 12 by 8 meters, buried over 4 meters deep. Its dimensions matched a description carved into cuneiform tablets more than 4,000 years ago, a warning deliberately preserved in the city's foundations. Weeks later, the invasion of Iraq began. That chamber has never been opened. A wide, flat stretch of southern Iraqi desert, once the cradle of the world's first great city, became a laboratory for modern science in the winter of 2003. The German research team, led by Jörg Fassbinder, arrived with a shielded 500 MHz ground-penetrating radar antenna, equipment designed to peer beneath dry sand to a depth of nearly 8 meters, with enough resolution to distinguish a buried wall from a natural rock lens. Their target was Uruk, founded around 4000 BCE, a city whose name still echoes in the oldest written stories. The team marked out a survey grid, laying cables and calibrating the antenna to sweep a patch of ground just beyond the ancient city's main mound. Each pass of the radar produced a slice of the subsurface, rendering the invisible into a series of grayscale patterns. As the first data appeared on the laptop screen, Fassbinder recalled the tension of watching for anomalies, straight lines, or rectangles that might betray the hand of ancient builders. The radar's 500 MHz frequency offered a compromise, deep enough to reach through centuries of wind-blown sediment, fine enough to resolve features as thin as 30 centimeters. The team's focus narrowed to a single, sharply outlined rectangle, 12 by 8 meters, lying more than 4 meters down. The shape was too regular for a natural formation. In the field notes, Fassbinder wrote, "Pattern matches architectural remains. Coordinates logged." The grid reference placed the anomaly within Uruk's ancient boundaries, near where cuneiform tablets described a sealed chamber meant to outlast the city itself. For a moment, modern technology met the ambitions of builders who had lived and died 5,000 years before. The implications would only grow deeper as the team prepared to analyze the pattern in detail. The radar data revealed a geometric pattern beneath the sand, unlike any natural formation. A network of high-amplitude reflectors ran at right angles, forming a clear orthogonal grid. Each line maintained a consistent spacing, matching the scale of ancient street plans found in early Mesopotamian cities. The orientation of these features was not arbitrary. Most ran parallel or perpendicular to a calculated axis, with a subtle but measurable 3-degree gradient sloping from northwest to southeast. A detail consistent with deliberate water management, channeling runoff toward the ancient Euphrates. Within this grid, one anomaly stood apart. At a depth of 4.3 meters, the radar slices outlined a sharply defined rectangle, 12 meters long and 8 meters wide. The edges of this zone reflected a strong, continuous signal, suggesting masonry or compacted brickwork enclosing a void. No other feature in the surveyed area showed the same clarity or isolation. The chamber's proportions and depth ruled out a simple storage pit or buried canal. Instead, the radar signature pointed to a constructed space, sealed and undisturbed, set at the lowest point of the surveyed gradient. The technical evidence offered a rare glimpse into the city's original layout. The orthogonal grid, the engineered slope, and the presence of a solitary chamber all pointed to a sophisticated urban design, one that could only be confirmed by excavation. For now, the radar images stood as the only proof, a digital map of a lost city waiting beneath the desert floor. In the winter of 1872, George Smith, a self-taught Assyriologist working in the British Museum's reading room, pieced together a set of clay tablets excavated from the ruins of Nineveh. These fragments, inscribed in cuneiform and nearly 3,000 years old, revealed a story that would astound the world. Among them was Tablet 11 of the Epic of Gilgamesh, containing a flood narrative that mirrored the biblical account of Noah in striking detail, down to the command to build a boat, the precise dimensions, the release of birds, and the vessel coming to rest on a mountain. Smith's translation, presented to the Society of Biblical Archaeology in November 1872, made headlines across Europe. The discovery forced scholars to reconsider the origins of ancient literature, showing that the Mesopotamian flood myth predated the Book of Genesis by over 1,000 years. Smith's work did not stop with the flood narrative. As he sifted through the tablets, he found passages describing how Gilgamesh, king of Uruk, ordered his deeds and knowledge to be inscribed on a lapis lazuli tablet and sealed within the city's foundations. The epic's opening lines invite readers to seek out these inscriptions, hinting at a physical record hidden beneath Uruk's walls. This motif of a sealed foundation deposit is echoed in the archaeological tradition of Mesopotamia, where dedicatory tablets and ritual objects were often buried within temple and city walls as a safeguard for future generations. The Sumerian King List, another cuneiform document, places Gilgamesh as the fifth ruler of Uruk after a great flood, crediting him with a reign of 126 years. The list, inscribed on a clay prism now held in the Ashmolean Museum, presents Gilgamesh not just as a literary hero, but as a historical monarch whose rule bridges myth and recorded history. These sources, Smith's deciphered tablets and the King List, established a foundation for linking literary warnings and physical remnants, setting the stage for later discoveries beneath the sands of southern Iraq. 1,000 lines of cuneiform text, pressed into clay and buried for millennia, describe a city whose king sought immortality by sealing his knowledge in stone. The epic's Gilgamesh opens with an invitation. Look for the copper tablet box. Open its lock of bronze. Lift the lid of stone. What secret lies within? The text claims that Gilgamesh inscribed his deeds on a lapis lazuli tablet and placed it in the foundations of Uruk, beneath the waters, or within a chamber set apart from the living city. Modern archaeologists have long debated whether this is pure myth or a coded reference to real construction practices, foundation deposits meant to preserve the memory of a ruler and his works. The 2003 German radar survey provided, for the first time, a measurable feature that aligns point by point with this ancient literary motif. The anomaly, a rectangle, 12 by 8 meters, isolated at a depth of 4.3 meters, lies precisely where the city's lowest gradient meets a now-vanished canal. In the epic's Sumerian and Akkadian versions, the burial of knowledge and the burial of the king are intertwined. A tomb built in a diverted riverbed, sealed by water, meant to outlast any catastrophe. The radar signature is not just a buried chamber, it sits at the intersection of engineered water flow and monumental architecture, echoing the text's claim of a tomb or tablet set beneath the city's life-giving channels. Inscriptional evidence from Uruk and other early Mesopotamian sites confirms that foundation tablets were often placed in waterproofed boxes, sometimes within stone-lined vaults, sometimes even under the paths of diverted canals. The spatial correlation is striking, text and measurement, myth and map, converging in a single, unexcavated void. The implications are profound. If the chamber matches the description, it could be the only case where a legendary warning, written in the world's oldest script, has been physically located by modern science. The synthesis of literary tradition and geophysical data stands on the edge of confirmation, its promise suspended by forces beyond the reach of archaeologists. On March 20, 2003, the ground shook with the opening salvos of the US-led invasion of Iraq. Within days, every foreign archaeological permit in the country was frozen. The German team, whose radar had just mapped the subsurface anomaly at Uruk, received orders to halt all fieldwork. Plans for excavation, already drafted and awaiting approval, were shelved indefinitely. By early April, the embargo on research activity was official, with a minimum 12-month suspension imposed on all new digs. The promise of uncovering a sealed chamber beneath the desert was left in limbo, its secrets untouched, the site unguarded, as war swept across the region and scientific priorities were overtaken by conflict. On April 9, 2003, as Baghdad fell, the Iraq Museum became a target for looters. The collection, once numbering around 170,000 artifacts from thousands of years of Mesopotamian history, suffered a devastating blow. 15,000 objects were stolen in a matter of days. Colonel Matthew Bogdanos, tasked with investigating the thefts, documented two distinct patterns: chaotic ransacking of public galleries and the systematic targeting of basement storerooms. Many of the missing pieces were not random. Records later showed that thieves had detailed knowledge of the museum's most valuable and easily transportable items. The loss went far beyond property. It erased irreplaceable links to the world's earliest cities and the stories they left behind. No excavation permit has been granted for Uruk's buried chamber since 2003. The site remains untouched, its secrets locked beneath the sand. scholars have proposed using high-resolution satellite imaging and remote sensing technologies to verify the anomaly's structure. But so far, only radar data and speculation fill the gap. The chamber endures as a silent question, waiting for the day when research and circumstance might finally converge. Today, the sealed chamber beneath Uruk remains unexplored, its secrets suspended by war and shifting priorities. As satellite data and ancient texts converge, the promise of discovery endures. Whether we heed such warnings or leave them buried, history waits beneath our feet, challenging us to listen. Share your thoughts below.